Hey there friends, Dave Paulides, Canada Missing Project. This is Huck L. Berry, the executive producer of our show. The big Huck. She said, Dad, show him my picture. Okay, I'll show him the picture. There's the picture. This is Huck TV. And we just got back from taking a big walk. And she said, you're a good girl. She's a good girl. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're a good puppy. Yeah, you're a good girl. Oh, yeah, you're a good girl. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's a good pup. Yeah. Oh, it's a rainy day here in northwest Montana. And everyone's a little lazy this morning. It's cold for the first time in a few days. It's snowing in the mountains. And that is excellent news, excellent news. So, I talk about kindness all the time. Kindness is important. And a local newspaper up here, read it every day, has an award called the Winslow Nichols Leadership Award. I'm going to read this to you because I think it's important. Sometimes we don't think we have good leaders coming up the ranks. People playing too many video games, not getting out there and doing things. I want you to hear about this young man. Cole Moses is a spirited Whitefish High School senior who seeks to lead through service and selflessness. Whitefish High School counselor Allie Jones said the student athlete's kindness, compassion, and strong moral compass set him apart from his peers in her letter nominating the Winslow Nichols Leadership Award honoree. Cole has a genuine way of connecting with others, Jones wrote. He greets staff and students with sincerity, listens intently, and treats everyone with respect, which is a rare quality that speaks volumes about his character. The award recognizes academic achievement and community involvement in high school students who contribute to improving the lives of others. The award is sponsored by Logan Health in collaboration with the Daily Interlake newspaper. Moses practices leadership through mentorship. His views mentors as guides who share wisdom and perspectives on life. Quote, I was always appreciative for those people in my life, and I try to be the best one as well to others, he said. At school, Moses served as a student mentor for students with disabilities as part of the high school's Extended Resource Student Service Program class, continuing those relationships over summer break. Quote, I spent a lot of time with students in theater arts, just being a friend and peer to them, helping them along the way, whether it's life skills or knowledge skills in the classroom. But that's not all, folks. Hold your taters. As part of the Winslow Nichols Leadership Award, honorees choose a school club or activity to receive the $250 donation. Moses plans to donate the money to the Student Mentor Special Services Program. He also hopes to be a positive role model to younger students through programs such as Mull Down Mornings and Bulldog Brothers. He said Mull Down Mornings involves going over to the elementary school and interacting with students. 20 to 30 minutes before school, we just give high fives and welcome the youngsters when they're going to school. Then we walk around and talk with them about their day, he said. From the Bulldog Brothers, a program organized by Whitefish High School head football coach Brett Bolwig, Moses said seniors and juniors are paired with sophomores and freshmen to help forge connections between varsity and junior varsity players and serve as mentors. It's a way for the freshmen and the sophomores to interact with an older classmate and kind of get their lay of the land so that they're coming into school, whether it's life advice, tips, or directions, Moses said. It's just a way to take a younger guy under your wing and show them around and be hospitable. But I think it drives some fellowship across the team as well. Moses credits Bolwig with playing a part in shaping the leadership style in the weekly leadership class. Before I go on, that's a picture of him. But that's not all, folks. I was mesmerized by this article. The coach holds summer football workouts where participants read books and hold discussions. One of those books that made a lasting impression on Moses was The 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader by John Maxwell. He says his most quoted phrase in the book is, "I believe a leader is one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way," Moses said. "Nobody wants to follow a leader who doesn't practice what they preach." End of quotes. And that's what Moses aspires as a leader. He's a student council senior class secretary and serves as co-president and treasurer of the Whitefish High School Cancer Support Association. Being a part of the cancer support and engaging in the community holds its significant meaning to me, having a family member who survived breast and skin cancer, something that affected my family a lot. Last summer, Moses brought community members together through a popular sport of pickleball, organizing a tournament and a fundraiser that he raised money for nonprofits. Moses is also someone who takes initiative when he sees the need. As a varsity football captain, he spearheaded a community spirit project hoping to drum up excitement for the 2025 football season. At Whitefish, Moses has seized the opportunity of attending a small high school by trying a variety of classes, sports, and clubs. He said each offers a learning experience. In his academic aspirations, Moses plans to hone his leadership skills by attending a military academy after graduation. He received an appointment to the U.S. Air Force Academy in March. It says he's planning a trip to Colorado to get an idea of the campus life. Friends, I read that. I was humbled. Think a young man like that would get up early and go to an elementary school with other leaders from the high school just to say hi to young kids and make them feel warm in the morning. I don't think my kids would have done that. And then volunteering for all these causes. Wow. Wow. There is hope for our younger people. That proved it to me. And you know, there's probably hundreds of thousands of those kids across the nation that don't get any notoriety. I mean, we have a small county here. Whitefish isn't a big high school. But damn. A young man has a great future. And it makes me feel good to be able to talk about accomplishments like that. I mean, when I spoke to you at the Missing 411 premiere, and I talked about the Kindness Award, those people who do the right things don't do it for any kind of award. They don't do it for recognition. It's what you do when nobody's looking that's really important. Yeah. All right, the cases today. I wanted to talk to you about two cases. First case is from Japan. We haven't talked about Japan a lot. There's been a handful of cases over the last couple years I have presented that are very unusual. First case involves a young boy named Shinya Matsuoka, 4 years old. It's this picture. He was left-handed, missing March 7th, 1989, from Sadamuchoko, Japan. Days before the incident, Shinya's maternal grandmother, his mom's mom, died. His father had a name of Masanobu. He was a software engineer, and his mom's name was Kaiko. Shinya had a younger and older sister. Shinya's mom and dad attended the funeral while the kids stayed with a relative's home in Sadamatsuko. Where is that? Here is Takamatsu. It's okay. Huck just touched something. Takamatsu. Right here. And where this happened is the relatives lived in this mountainous area south of there. He's a good girl. He's a good girl. Well, the parents went to the funeral, got back late that night, and the morning was March 7th. And the father got up and said, hey, he hadn't been to this relative's house much, and so he goes, I just want to take a walk around the house with the kids. And wife said, hey, be back quick, you only have 10 minutes because breakfast is ready. He said, okay. So he took one of the daughters and Shinya. So he walks around the home, comes around back to the front door. And now this location is important, folks. It's the last home at the end of a street in the woods. And there's no visitors, there's no outsiders, there's no cars, and there's nothing that comes down the street. It's really remote. So he takes the walk with his two kids and two other kids from the house of relatives that he's in. So a total of 4. And they're walking around, and he's holding his younger daughter. Shinya's right behind him. And they came back to the front door, knocks on the door, his wife opens. He steps inside. Think about this. He takes a couple feet up a step. Shinya's behind him. He steps in the door, hands his wife the daughter, turns and goes back down the steps, and he sees that Shinya's not there. It's literally that quick. He told the police, and the wife told the police on multiple occasions, 20 to 40 seconds was the time span he had his eyes not on Shinya. 20 to 40 seconds. He looked each direction, didn't see anyone, calls the name, doesn't respond, runs down each direction, doesn't see anything, comes back in, and gets all the adults to come out and start searching. After a short while, they call the village firefighters. And in Japan, those are like the first round you call for search and rescue. Village firefighters, the fire brigade. They were there, and then they called the police at 10 a.m. At about the same time, Shinya's parents called them as well. The police were called. The entire village got together and quickly helped the police. And it was a concentrated, comprehensive effort by a community that was really tight. Everybody knew each other. Everybody helped each other. Now, kind of the strange part of the story is that at the end of the street, there was a big agricultural field. And there were a handful of people picking and working in the field at the time. Those were the only people in view in this entire area when Shinya disappeared. The police get there. Would have been the first thing I would have done is talk to the people that were outside that might have seen anything. So they interview these 3 or 4 people. People say, and they were 100 meters away, 100 yards away essentially. Workers were questioned and nobody saw anyone walking in that area in the previous several hours. They hadn't seen any cars driving up and down the street. Huck's freaking out. It's okay, Huck. It's okay, girl. And they had nothing. Police had nothing. Then the police go down and they start knocking on all the doors on all the homes in the neighborhood. They all said the same thing. Hadn't heard anything, hadn't seen anything, hadn't seen any little boys. Nothing. The search kept gaining more police, and more people in the community kept responding. And the search kept widening out. Shinya's family, mom and dad, went on Japanese TV multiple times, asking, begging for help. If anybody knew anything, if they could come up and search. They wanted to find their little boy, the only little boy in their family. On March 17th, this happened on March 7th, the Japanese authorities did a above average, I would say, job searching, 10 days. And then the family returned to their home in Ibaraki Prefecture. Police went back after the family left, interviewed all the families in that neighborhood a second time. Nobody had seen anything. Nobody had heard anything. Nobody knew anything. Now, unusually, in 1989, there was a rash of crime in Japan, like a big blimp in the radar over years past and years after that nobody really could explain. And Shinya's disappearance was kind of overshadowed by all the major crime. The number one reason was nobody saw it as a crime. They didn't get a ransom note. Nobody claimed abduction. He just disappeared. And it didn't make any sense to anybody. Well, the police interviewed the family for a third time, completely cleared them, not involved. Too many witnesses. Because there were older kids mixed in with Shinya who were interviewed who said, yeah, we just walked around the house and that was it. And he was right behind us. Followed us to the door. We went in before him and he was gone. Older kids validated everything that the dad said. So again, this happened March 7th, 1989. In a very weird set of circumstances. Shinya's mother died in 2020. Never knowing what happened to her son. And it was never stated what the mother died from. But she must have been very young. The police, just like police all over the world, come up with some wacky ideas. They stated that possibly, now remember, the dad is standing inside the doorway. Back behind him, 10, 12 feet, was the last he saw his son. The police said that maybe a golden eagle flew down and grabbed the boy and flew off. Well, that's quite a theory. Except some eagle experts in Japan said that Shinya weighed double the weight of the biggest golden eagle in Japan, because golden eagles in Japan are about half the size as they are in other parts of the world. So that kind of humbled that excuse. Kidnapping. There were no screams, nobody seen, no place to go quickly, no cars on the street. And again, everyone reiterated, the least amount of time he was out of sight was 20 seconds, the most was 40 seconds, because they reenacted it several times. What could move a boy out of that area with no sounds that quickly? That is the million-dollar question. Now, if you're an educated observer of my videos and my movies, you could come to a pretty easy answer to that question. But not everything in life is easy. Remember, your opinion is only as valuable as the research you've done on the topic. And I get people every day on my videos make comments that say, why are you even talking about this disappearance? It's blah, blah, blah. It's because they're not looking at the big picture. And I realize the 900 videos I've posted over the years is a lot to watch, then go watch my movies. 3 of my movies are free to watch right now on Tubi, Tubi, online. Missing 411, Missing 411 The Hunted, Missing 411 The UFO Connection. Watch them. That will give you a good educational base. Watch them in order. Missing 411 first, Missing 411 The Hunted second, UFO Connection number 3. Why? Because I walked you down a path of education. We knew this when we were going in, and we did it. And then go to our website, missing411.com, to find more information that you're interested about, because it'll be there. Books, DVDs, Blu-rays, hats, sweatshirts. Oh yeah. Huck said, Dad, show him a sweatshirt. It's pretty cool. Really good sweatshirt. And they're good quality too. Now, Japan. It's on my bucket list to go to. First of all, I love their food. Really, I love their food. And at one point in my life, I worked for a Japanese company. I like their people a lot. And when we talk about missing people, it isn't just the US, Canada that have these type of disappearances. Best I can tell right now, it's almost every country in the world, which is puzzling. This next case, well, you're going to recognize all the profile points very quickly. Misaki Ogura, that was the girl's name. Misaki Ogura, 7 years old, missing September 21st, 2019, female, first grader. Narita, Chiba Prefecture. Tall for a first grader, her mom said. She was last seen wearing a high neck shirt, long sleeves, checkered, blue jeans, and shoes. Elementary school sponsored a camping trip 2 to 3 times a year. And the families would go, camp out, and get to be friends with one another. Picture of her with short hair. Now, I bring this picture up because I've talked to you before. Ladies, women, girls with short hair, they seem to be taken at a higher rate than girls with long hair. Because if you turned her around, it may not be readily known by her age that she's a girl or a boy because of the short hair. Now, if you're a longtime follower, I've talked about this before. Back to the story. 7 families decided to go to the mountains from the school. Misaki and her mom and her grandmother met other families at the Doshimura campground in the Yamanashi Prefecture area of Japan. At 9:20 a.m. on September 21st, the family arrived, mom and the grandmother. The father was to arrive the following day because of work. Bing, 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 bing. Father not on site. Now, where did they go? They went into the shadows of Mount Fuji. So this is Mount Fuji. And right where I circled, that's where their campground was. This is Tokyo, Yokohama. So this is a national park. Well, at about 1:30, the children were playing tag. They're doing what kids do, running around, having fun, being kids. And just playing games. A parent called them in and said it was snack time, and they all came back. At about 3:35, some of the kids had left, some of them have gone, and 9 of the kids had just left and were playing with others. Misaki supposedly followed a friend into the woods, and what happened after that, very unclear. Friend said, yeah, she was following me. Then I turned around, she was gone. Well, at 3:50, adults went out to call the kids in for campsite time. And at about 4 o'clock, one of the moms that was out looking for the other kids couldn't find Misaki. They came back to the campsite, told the other parents and the mom and the grandma, and everyone went out to search for her. Now, this campsite is a pretty upscale location that had upgraded services. Tennis courts, pool, showers. And the searching went out to these outer areas and eventually told the reception desk at the campsite of what was happening. There was also a river within very close proximity to their campsite that everyone was concerned about. Well, at 6 p.m., the police arrive. They search the area multiple times. At 7 p.m., the fire brigade and police canines arrived from the outlying areas and started to work the region, the bridge, the hills, and the valley were searched through the night. The following day, September 22nd, hundreds of police officers and firefighters were arriving into the area. They closed the campground, and canines secured the region, meaning they kept everybody out and the dogs just worked it. Following day, September 23rd, hundreds more police and firefighters converged on the camp. Police interviewed the kids, the adults, the workers at the camp, and they interviewed all the other campers unrelated to this group. Everyone left after that except Misaki's parents, which were allowed to stay on the grounds in their tent and help in the search. The search by the Japanese was very similar to what you'd see by a search by American searchers. Organized, comprehensive, canine-driven. The more I read about it, the more I was impressed. The campground was called Doshi-Mira, located along the Mikasa River, and it was a tributary of the Doshi River. The camping area offers free campsites in the woods and the mountains, as well as bungalows for families. There's a swimming pool that's open during the summer months, and they advertise that the campground is in the shadow of Mount Fuji. It has toilets, shower rooms, courts for tennis and pickleball, and the campground has a Wi-Fi, and the elevation of it is 2,500 feet. Sounds like a nice place. I mean, I can think of all the dumpy campsites I've stayed at over the years. No showers, no running water. That sounded nice. Each day in the search up to day 10, more and more searchers kept arriving. 1,700 people were in the area as searchers for police fire. After 17 days of searching, they found nothing. Nobody could believe it. On October 7th, the search and rescue ended. Police and firefighters left. The mother, her name was Tomoko. She continued going back to the park and searching every week. She was on Japanese TV so many times asking for help. If anybody had information, tried to get more people to come back to the park and search again. Nothing. And again, this was September 21st, 2019. So let's march ahead. April 26, 2022. A person who was just interested in Misaki's case and believed she had to have been there somewhere, a volunteer, kept searching over the years. And on April 26th, they were 1,800 feet from the original campsite, and they thought they saw something unusual in the ground. Thought they were bones. Called the police. Police come out and secure the scene. Now, it's very hard at the beginning even for forensic experts to tell the difference sometimes between animal bones and human bones, especially big animal bones. And the police kind of kept their mouths shut for a long time and just did their work, which is smart. The police found this site and they kept moving outwards, eventually closing the campground because the site that they were looking at kept getting bigger. On the 28th, they found a right foot sneaker of what they believed to be Misaki's. The 29th, they find the other sneaker and two socks a little further away. On May 4th, they found a larger bone and some clothing, a black high-neck checkered shirt like Misaki's. And the area of the recovery by the police said it was very steep and nobody would believe a child could or would go into that area. They also said something that was a little puzzling. They found her shirt, her shoes, and her socks, but they did not find her pants. Pants are usually made of some pretty sturdy clothing that should easily last 2.5, 3 years in that environment. And they kept going outward, searching. On May 14th, they had the bones, the clothing, everything DNA tested. They had already gotten DNA from the mom and the dad. And through advanced testing, they confirmed it was Misaki's, her bones. Think about this. They couldn't determine the cause of the death because there was no tissue. They stated there was no obvious sign, broken bones, etc. The discovery sent a shockwave over the area. Least of all, the family was stunned. They were stunned because why wasn't she found years earlier? That's number one. And the police kept reiterating, oh, this area is so steep, we never thought she would go there. Back up a little bit. I've told you before that a lot of remains are found in steep areas, almost like they were dropped or they fell. But the idea that Misaki walked to the top of that hill, nobody believed that. Nobody did. 1,800 feet from the campsite. I'm going to say something, I'll put my foot in the ground to this. There is absolutely no way canines wouldn't have picked up that scent had she have been there. There's no way. Friends, I'm just telling you. Even the most rudimentary trained dog, given her scent, should have picked up that scent immediately. She's found in an area with steep incline. Some people described the area where she was found as an old creek bed and that some of her remains might have been washed down. There was never, ever a claim that she fell. Others must have gone through this area during the initial search. Dogs had to have hit on this if she was there. The volunteer that was still searching found this. Authorities said there wasn't a focus on this area because they didn't believe a child would or could go into that area. When Misaki disappeared, her dad was not on site. I still think that's an important clue. She got out of sight and disappeared. The river was just below this location, and that river had been searched multiple times by people associated with the formal search and families of the campers. It wasn't a big roaring river, but nothing was found there. So what happened here? That's $1 million question. Do I believe she was there when they were searching? No. I don't. Like the searchers said, they didn't believe a little girl could go into that area because it was too steep, or would go into that area. Okay, I believe them. Now let's pretend you don't believe them. Then there's no way a canine brought to that fringe, no, not 1,800 feet. They searched that whole area around it. But even from 1,800 feet, that dog should have smelled that girl. The dogs were all given her scent. They should have found her. And cadaver dogs, there's no way a cadaver dog, could not pick up decomposing remains from 1,800 feet. Dogs can pick up decomposing remains from miles away. Okay? So, those are the two Japanese cases for today. I appreciate you being here. Kindness is key. The article I read you earlier, that young man's name, Cole Moses. Obviously, a young man that is going to go places in life. Congratulations to his parents, his family. They raised a star. Whatever they did to guide that young man, they did the right thing. I appreciate you being here. Go to missing411.com. Check out that website or news site. And please make sure you're subscribed. In the last month, hundreds of you have sent me emails saying, Dave, we've been forcibly unsubscribed, which is why the ratings have absolutely nosedived. The amount of views have nosedived in the last 2 weeks. I don't understand it. Please make sure you're subscribed. Tons of people are saying, hey, we're not getting notifications from YouTube. What can I do? Look, because I often put on the comments section a link to all of our videos. So if you go to that link every other day, you're going to get me no matter what. Thanks for being here. Be safe. Be kind. Paulides out.